So it's been an endless search trying to find the perfect skateboard that can prove itself to be the ultimate backup skateboard and relieve me of the stress of my skateboard breaking and probably having to buy a new one. So I've gone through a list of different skateboards in my search. I've bought 2 skateboards from the brand Powell Peralta. In their flight collection, they use carbon fiber and wood veneer sheets, so it reinforces the board while still giving it a traditional wooden feel. Inevitably, those boards end up breaking, so you do have to pay $100 each time you want to buy those, but they do last significantly longer than a normal skateboard. After that, I wanted to get into other skateboard manufacturing processes, so I chose plastic just because I thought it was going to be a more durable and reinforced model of a skateboard. So I bought one from a brand called Capsule, and that skateboard really wasn't shaped to be like a traditional skateboard, and when the board went up against walls and hit the edges, it really just didn't break off how it's supposed to and just blunted off to its side, and it really affected your foot positioning and the board feel when you were going to do flip tricks and anything else. After that, I bought a skateboard from a brand called Kate, and that skateboard was amazing out of the box. Looked just like a skateboard, uncanny resemblance to it, and it held up for a pretty good time. It was about 1.5 years of usage on it before it had a pressure crack due to me doing like a bunch of drop tricks and flip tricks on ground. In that time that I was using the Cape skateboard, it was about 1.5 years, so I probably would have bought maybe like 4 or 5, 6 different skateboards maybe, all costing $55 to $75. Would have been way more than the price I paid for the Cape skateboard, which was about like $200. Forgot how much I paid for it at the time. Since that one broke, we had to look for another skateboard. Think I got the skateboard that is actually better than both of those 2 options that I bought prior. Came across this brand called Impact, and I had that brand in mind at the time I was trying to buy the Cape skateboard. I just didn't like the graphics that they had on the Impact website. It was just whole logo posterings underneath the board, and it just really looked tacky. It didn't really look the way I wanted a board graphic to look, basically. So I chose the Cape skateboard just because it had a smaller logo. Now Cape skateboards, they have different graphics underneath their boards and the designs are really good, but I wanted to try another skateboard brand just because I knew the Cape skateboard could only last a certain amount of time. They said the same manufacturing process for the model that I had was the same process they did for the designs that they have now. They were just doing more graphics underneath. So we may get another Cape skateboard in the future, but the board that we got now is the Impact XPU 2.0 full black limited edition skateboard deck. Now it was only limited to about 100 models at the time of this video, currently unavailable on the website. Hopefully they'll do a restock later, but that's only hopefully. This is probably going to be the new production process that they have for boards in the future, and this was only a test run, so I'm glad we were able to secure one. On the website it says it's the first official release of their newest composite skateboard deck construction, limited to the first 100 decks. It's lighter, thinner, and tuned for a more natural maple light flex. XPU 2.0 brings an updated composite fiber layout designed to strengthen critical break zones. It says it has a thinner profile, approximately 9.34 to 9.5 millimeter deck thickness, has a more natural flex, tuned to feel closer to a traditional maple board, and it has an updated composite fiber layout redesigned to increase break resistance in critical zones, especially right behind the trucks. And that's exactly where the Cape skateboard broke on me. Right here, I don't know if you can tell, but the part right underneath the trucks, that's where it got the pressure crack. I felt it just flexing in the middle way unnaturally. So I was like, yeah, something's wrong. I was still able to do flip tricks on it, but the board just bent right there. So I was like, time to buy a new skateboard, I guess. Now my traditional wooden skateboard, I did want to size down. The only size they had available on the website, I think like an 8.5 and an 8.25. And the Impact other model boards that they have, I think they have like 8.38s, 8.25s, 8.5s, and like a 7.75, I want to say, like a traditional layout lineup of skateboard decks. But I did want to size down, so I didn't want to get the 8.5 and I wanted to get more of an 8.38. They didn't have that available, so we had to go to 8.25. This is the Peace Day Resistance right here. I wasn't able to get a board setup video. I tried recording this video like say a month ago, but as soon as I brought this board to the skate park, there were some kids throwing around the N-word. A fight was about to happen. There was some guy sitting on an obstacle, and one guy just pulled up and said he didn't like it, so he called the cops on him. Cops came out, started a whole altercation. Dude got removed. I just didn't want to release that video. It was way too problematic. So we weren't able to get a board setup video, but I was able to get some actual playtime on the skateboard, and I can confirm like the board sounds weird once it hits the ground, but it feels like a traditional skateboard. I don't know how well carbon fiber compares to wood, but it doesn't feel like I'm riding a carbon fiber skateboard. It feels like I'm riding a regular skateboard, at least to me. The specs that I have on this board, this is an 825 twin nose model. I don't think they had a twin tail, and I'm only assuming it's twin nose just because both sides are steep, so I'm gonna just call it a twin nose. On the website, they don't have a wheelbase range or the actual height from the nose and the tail to the ground, so I'm not sure about the exact specifications, but it is a little bit taller than the Cape Skateboard, and the Cape Skateboard was like 14 and I think a quarter wheelbase, so I'm gonna say this is around that same size. And the nose on the actual Cape Skateboard was I think 7 inches off the ground. It just depends on what trucks you have. I don't know. These are probably like 6 inches off the ground from the nose and the tail. I got some indie trucks on here. They didn't have Venture at the skate park, so I was not able to pick up some of those. I got some Bones wheels, Reds bearings. I bought some Bones extra soft bushings. They ended up breaking, so I had to switch back to the stock ones. I don't know what's wrong with the extra soft. I guess if it takes a lot of impact, I guess it's just way too much impact for the bushings to be able to handle, so they just crushed underneath all of that impact. Had to change them back out to the stock bushings. We got some stuck hardware, the Allen key. I like the Allen keys just because it looks kind of different on the top of the board. Phillips head is cool, but Allen keys just look like different. You know, I like different, so I like that. I like the different wave, and Allen key is like just atypical of a hardware to have, so I prefer those on my skateboards. I had them for like my last 3, so I just stick with it. I just bought a rail from Amazon, so we're gonna go to this little flat ground spot I usually go to, set that up, get some skate clips, try and practice some rail tricks, and give you my final opinion about the Impact skateboard. First, I gotta eat some breakfast. Got a couple loose. Do I hold down walking with no appearances? I can't scuff a brand new shoes. Go down ghost cause you're not a parent. Danny Phantom, how'd I even knew you? Now that we made it here, I'm gonna go ahead and start setting up this rail. I got like a 9-foot rail off the Amazon. It only gets like 9 inches off the ground on its max height, and I'm not a rail skater by any means. I used to have a rail when I was younger. It was about like a 4-foot rail, kind of half the size of this. but didn't get to skate it that much just because we lived on a very busy neighborhood road. And every time we had it out, we get like one board slide, had to put it up just because a car was coming by. And I think like we left it out in the rain one night, just rusted up really bad, so we couldn't even skate it anymore. So I'm so glad I got this rail because I can be able to start learning rail tricks again. That's gonna be so exciting. So the rail trick that I really want to learn is a kickflip front board slide. And I've landed it a couple times, but you know, like crooked grinds, feebles, smiths, blunts. Blunts on a rail to me look way cooler than blunts on a ledge. I don't know. Like I feel like you can flip out of a blunt on a rail way easier than you can do a blunt flip out of a ledge grind trick or some a ledge trick. Oh, it feels pretty sturdy. My God. Yeah, that's good enough to practice on. Got some sound to it. What? That sounds good. Yeah, just the size of this was about how long my old rail was, and it was a flat bar. This is a round bar. So I feel like I'll be able to learn a whole lot more stuff on this. One thing that I've learned is that on round bars, you can cross lock better. I just learned what cross locking was like in the past 3 years, and this made my 50-50. Like, that's about only trick I can do. Front side 50-50, back side 50-50, like grind trick. It made those turn out way better. I didn't know what those meant on a square rail, because all you got to do is just hop on a square rail. Oh, I thought there was one more section. I was like, this thing gonna be long as hell. But yeah, I'm gonna get to set up this rail, and then I'll come back after that.
Reassurance from my homies. I need all different types of currency. Need a bad bitch, you never heard of me. No passenger beside me on the road again. No passenger beside me on the road. Full tank of gas. No passenger beside me on the road again. No passenger beside me on the road again. Full tank of gas, no passenger beside me on the road again. 4 grams of gas, but I do not pass. I just try to hold it in. Reflect on my past like I just try to look within. I'm just trying to get all of my cash. I don't care whose it is. Most of these niggas, they talk, but all of they give you is excuses. I give out special exclusions, cause I ain't with all the bullshit. I throw down fakie, then I hit a backside cab, hit them with a full twist. Throw down bangers, I'm an explosionist. Pour up double cup, purple potion. Double cup, purple potion. Walked in the store and I went and bought more shit. Bitch, I feel.
So I just finished putting the rail together. I thought it was gonna have screws and everything to be able to, but it just has like connector pins that you to like be able to link the other parts together with it. The foot stands, I don't know if they're really that sturdy, but I feel like once you're doing a grind trick and you're on it, it's not gonna, I don't know if it's gonna like move around that much. It doesn't seem, I don't know. I got it up to the max height just because I'm accustomed, pretty comfortable with getting on rails. There was like a couple more of the rails that I could have bought that were way taller than this, but I mean, they would have been way more expensive. I think this was like $85 and the other ones were like $200, $175. Only thing I'm worried about is these parts right here, like where they're connected, it's got like a little, you know, it's not flush against the actual rail and everything. So I don't know, I'm probably just gonna have to go fast to go over that or something. The one thing that you're not supposed to do that I can do now, the #1 unspoken written skate rule at a skate park, we're applying a fresh coat of wax just so this thing will be butter and I'll slide through. Probably gonna get some warm-up tricks. I'm gonna just do like some ollies over the rail, ollies onto the rail. We'll probably get to do some board slides, 50s. I'll give some observations that I'm making about the impact skateboard that I've made on my first day that I probably should include into this video. I don't know if it's because the wax that I put on my board is combining with the wax that I put on the rail, and similar to the skate park, it was already pre-waxed when I got there. This thing slides like butter. I don't know if it's because of the actual wax, but from like a week of already skateboarding this, you can see there's like no marks on the carbon fiber. So I don't know, if I were to not have waxed my board, it probably wouldn't be sliding like this, or it probably still would have been sliding like this. I don't know if you guys could hear when the board makes contact with the ground. I can compare it to my traditional skateboard. I'm gonna go get it really quick. Compared to a wooden skateboard, this skateboard is beyond repair right now. Like, I need to get a whole new setup for this, or I just need to buy a whole new board. This is a completely new setup, but this is like 3-year-old trucks, 3 different sets of wheels, God knows how long, old hardware, grip tape, got cracks in the middle. You can hear the sound. I don't know, I'll try to put the mic close to it. That's the carbon fiber. This isn't a really good point of comparison just because this board is like waterlogged, soggy. It still got some pop to it. I don't know. It just sounds like a higher difference. Like, it wasn't as drastic as the Cape skateboard was. Sorry, I had to get my sweat towel. It's hot as hell out here. It's not as drastic as a change as the Cape skateboard was. The Cape skateboard just sounded like I was throwing a bottle on the ground every single time I popped. But, you know, it still had insane pop compared to a wooden skateboard. In comparison, there's a bird that just flew up to the top of the ceiling, like a canary yellow. I knew that was gonna mess up. like again, I said, I'm not a rail skater. I get so scared, and then when I ollie onto it, my back foot never wants to pop. Oh, I could actually feel the cross lock. I could feel the toe lock, heel lock, actually. We're back home. My phone ended up dying on me while I was at the skate spot. Luckily, we were able to get some clips. I'm here just to tell you guys my final review of the Impact skateboard. I want to just give you guys my kind of initial review in the initial stages of owning the Impact skateboard and what I personally think about it. It's a pretty good board, I'm not gonna lie. It is in direct comparison to my experience with the Cape skateboard. So that's what I'm using as my kind of comparison point. Relative to the Cape skateboard, it does have a little less pop than when I first started skating that one compared to this one. So I will add that to it. The twin nose on it is really good for when I'm skating fakie or nollie. So I don't have to worry about flipping the board around to be able to get the right side of pop. I can just be able to switch the board around and not have to worry about which is the nose and which is the tail. Sometimes when I do pot shove it, when I do backside 180s or backside kick flips, front side kick flips, I always worry about which side I'm popping off of because the nose on the Cape skateboard is just way too steep. I don't like that nose, but I love the skateboard for the time I had it. Now that I have this one, I will be trying to learn more tricks, probably try and get some half cab flips in. I've been trying to do a nollie full cab backside. I would like to get a nollie backside full cab flip maybe in the future. That'll be cool. I'd do that in some videos once I get a filmer though. I do not have a filmer right now. But all in all, it's a really good skateboard. I would recommend it if you guys are looking for a backup model. I don't think this is going to chip anytime soon. Probably gonna have to change the grip tape probably like couple months from now. I noticed when the board just hits the ground, it kind of chips off and you can see the carbon fiber, like it's getting a little exposed on my tail right there. Probably something I'm gonna have to look out for in the future, but it's a really good skateboard. Not gonna lie. It will be used as my backup. If you guys made it to the end of this video, I want you to like it and subscribe. Tell me what you would like to see in the future. If you guys would like to see more reviews, you guys would like to see more vlog style videos. I do travel frequently to be able to skate. Closest skate park, like I said, is an hour away. If you guys would like a vlog style video like that, be able to include some in the future. The video that I had recorded previously that I wanted to drop is a whole vlog style, an hour down the street to the local skate park. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get no video clips from that. I will record some in the future. Say when I go on vacation to some skate parks and some skate events, I will be vlogging those, so stay tuned in the future. I love you guys. I'll see you in the next video.